So last week, I went to Chicago and stayed at a Catholic retreat center. I was there for the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association Committee on Anti-Racism, Anti-Oppression, and Multiculturalism. And we were there for a retreat. While there, I encountered something I had not encountered there before. The sisters had posted various sayings from other faiths in the stairwell on the walls. They were on little pieces of paper typed up and just taped up on the wall. Something to stop and read as you climb the floors. It was like stations of spirituality. A reminder that even climbing stairs can bring wisdom. I took a picture of a few of the sayings, and one such saying seems applicable for today as we speak of faith, hyphenated. It says, when Abu Sa'id Abul-Khair was asked what Sufism entails, he replied, "Whatever you have in your mind, forget it. Whatever you have in your hand, give it. Whatever is to be your fate, face it." To come to the table, to be able to speak to others about faith, to welcome a hyphenated faith into one's midst, it seems we must forget whatever is in our mind. We must learn to take all of our preconceived notions of what we think of another faith and just be like a sponge, learning all that we can with an open mind. And then we must give of our hearts to others, give what is in our hands to give. Facing one's fate means acceptance. We must accept that many coming to this beloved faith called Unitarian Universalism want to bring their full selves and their multiple identities. And that will continue to change us for the better. Over the years, Unitarian Universalism has embraced change as it has learned to incorporate other religious beliefs into it. Now, this has not been without tumult and strain, but it appears that some congregations successfully allow for various faith groups to present their kinds of services either once in a while or as a separate service among 3 or 4 different services on any given Sunday. But I wonder, what would it look like if we learn to truly integrate aspects of various faiths into the worship service? What would that look like? How would that new way of worshiping speak to us? Those who have been around for a long time and those who are new to Unitarian Universalism. And then I wonder, can we ever do it successfully? I mean, change can be a little scary, right? Worshiping differently means change. And let's face it, most of us don't want that. I mean, we want the same old thing we're used to. For me, because I think of us as a Starbucks nation, right? What is my Starbucks drink? Give me a grande mocha with soy milk, no whipped cream, and 2 pumps of chocolate. That's what brings me a little peace sometimes, right? I want it my way, and I don't want to change it. But our reading challenges us. Our reading from my beloved colleague, Leslie Takahashi. challenges us to look at how we have been taught dichotomy. Black or white, whole or broken, good versus evil, male versus female, old versus young, gay versus straight. But what if we truly embrace the many facets of the rainbow that truly is our lives? And what if we put the margins in the center? Could we even think that there is a spectrum of sexuality that doesn't mean we must choose? Could we think there is a way to navigate between genders from moment to moment? Would that be more marginal thinking than what we've been taught? What if we were to realize that the evil we see in the terrorist, the politician, the thief, is more complicated than what we know? What if we were to actually see good in those individuals as well? Would that be putting marginal thinking in the center? In schools, oftentimes teachers can bring controversial readings to the classroom to get a debate going. Now, what better time than an election year, right? While this may be exciting, it forces students to do what? To think and to take a side, a stand, right? This is what I think. But what if one feels a little bit Democratic and a little bit Republican? A little green, a little libertarian at different moments, on different days, with different issues? Is there room for discussion in our being able to hold those multiple political identities? Or is it truly black or white? When I first came to Unitarian Universalism, I came with this idea of multiple identities. And so I was first trying to explain this concept, that some of us come with identities that we bring to our newfound faith and then try to figure out how to integrate them. And I was asked by those in the faith since childhood, right? So they were reared only Unitarian Universalist. Why not just call yourself a Unitarian Universalist? For them, it seemed, Unitarian Universalism did a good job of including other faith traditions. After all, we were a faith on the margins, right? And still can be in certain circles. And our Time for All Ages story told us about our flaming chalice becoming our symbol, and it came out of needing a symbol in order to be taken more seriously by government organizations because we were on the margins. And we needed to help people and be taken seriously, so we needed the symbol on our letterhead to show we meant business. But what of those who feel that we do not include other faith traditions into this denomination well? Can we handle that? We're Unitarian Universalists. What do you mean we don't do this well? And yet some people feel we don't. We say we look to various sources to guide us, including various faiths of the world. But do we do this well enough? Or are we too afraid of losing that Unitarian Universalist identity? And so in order to maintain that identity, we have created a hyphenated faith, but usually it's one hyphen, right? I'm a Unitarian Universalist Buddhist. I'm a Unitarian Universalist Jew. I'm a Unitarian Universalist pagan, humanist, Muslim, Hindu, atheist, Christian, etc. But could this still be limiting? Is there room to be a Unitarian Universalist Buddhist Muslim? Or a Unitarian Universalist Buddhist Muslim pagan, humanist, Christian, Hindu? Could we have all of that in one identity? Or are we only allowed that one hyphen because we've been taught dichotomy? The sisters at the Catholic Retreat Center were including mystic sayings on the walls of the stairwell. Was there only room for the mystics of various faiths to adorn their walls? Was that hyphenated enough for them? Is it hyphenated enough for us? And as I've said before, our denomination is calling for us to truly be a multi-faith denomination. What does that look like? Can we speak of those multiple identities, those hyphenated and hyphenated and hyphenated faiths that many are living and traversing as they live in a multi-ethnic and multi-religious family? Can we truly become a welcoming faith that includes everyone? As a person who grew up in a family of multis, I've always searched for the commonalities between religions. But we're taught to view faith identities as different because we got to know the differences. Because in order to do interfaith work, you can't lose your own identity. And so, what if you're a person who sees all the faiths somehow connecting, no matter how much you highlight the differences? This week was a tough week. We had bombs going off in New York. Somebody else stabs people in a mall. And yet another black man with his hands up is killed during a routine stop. And a Muslim woman wearing a hijab is set on fire while shopping. We might wonder how the world might ever know peace when we hear stories like this week. Bombs, stabbings, killings all took place this week in our nation. How will our nation ever know peace? I believe we need to begin with our future leaders, our future citizens, our children. This week I learned of a school who experienced some racism stemming from privilege. Little thing we call white privilege. Discussions of race in the classroom hurt those that were not in the dominant culture. How do we help those students to learn about embracing diversity and embracing multiple cultures and ethnicities and points of view because we're more similar than different? When we are teaching and learning about dichotomous thinking. See, we have this beautiful history, this Unitarian Universalist history in which it is filled with persecution and it is filled with stories of a faith that struggled. Our ancestors struggled while sitting on the margins, They fought, they lost their lives so that we could have religious freedom and reason. We can use our minds to think, not dichotomies, the multiples, the margins. When I hear stories of people feeling like they don't really feel like they can bring their full religious identities to the table, they're not feeling welcome to do so, I feel sad. What did our ancestors fight for if we're still not making it as welcoming as it could be? They fought for religious freedom, and this chalice was that symbol. And we are the torchbearers of this chalice. We need to welcome everyone to the table and figure out a way to do that, to become this multi-faith denomination. Or will we just allow those who preach differences to keep winning? Do our identities truly need to be separate, or can we make room for that marginal thinking? Can we put the margins in the center? There's beauty in diversity, yes, but there can be even more beauty in truly seeing the oneness, the margins, the hues of life, those multiple identities. Can we have a hyphenated, 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 hyphenated faith? And can we say, I too am broken and whole, and I welcome you to sit at my table? Can we do that?